This is your complete mixing course for beginners. If you have been producing for anywhere between 1 to 4 years, this is for you. It's not a follow along kind of video or start to finish mixing a track. Rather, I'll get your foundations right. No fluff, no nonsense, just pure value. Today, we're talking gain staging, but before we get into it, let's get your mindset right. Now lock in and let's get started. We go through many phases in mixing and mastering, one by one. And before that, you must be done with the process of recording, editing, tuning, and fixing. Mixing can only begin when the track is in its final recorded form, allowing the focus to be purely on creating the desired sonic balance. Although modern DAWs make it easy to switch between editing and mixing, it's essential to remain focused on mixing during this phase to avoid disrupting the creative flow. Before we move further, here are some key practices that will help you ensure your mixes are good, or these are the things that are always good to be taken care of before we dive into mixing. Have a vision, meaning you want to have some sense of direction of your project before you begin. Your initial ideas might be simple, like wanting a punchy, aggressive, or smooth sound, and these ideas may evolve during the process. However, starting with a clear vision gives you a solid foundation to build on. Even as the concepts shift, they will guide your decisions on EQ, compression, and effects, helping you shape the final sound. Great way to develop your mixing and mastering ideas is by referencing other tracks that you like that are similar to the music you are working on. Listening to a few tracks before starting can help point you in the right direction. Pay attention to how those mixes handle elements like volume, panning, and frequency balance. Keep in mind though that every piece of music is unique. While you can draw inspiration, you can't perfectly emulate another mix because of the unique interaction between all musical elements. Different vocals, instruments, recording environments, and performance nuances will lead to variations. No two mixes or masters sound exactly alike, but referencing other work can guide your decisions and shape your direction. Be aware and monitoring your level. Listening at even moderately loud levels can enhance your enjoyment, but if you do this consistently, it may hinder your mixing and mastering effectiveness, and also it can hurt your ears. There are two main issues with loud listening. First, the louder you play music, the faster you experience ear fatigue. Second, everything tends to sound better at higher volumes, which diminishes your ability to make critical judgments. Mixing and mastering are mainly about refining and revising the audio. After you have set your levels and added some effects, that's just the beginning. The real work starts when you listen to the whole mix, focus on each section, adjust the levels, tweak the frequencies, and play with the panning, etc. It's all about repeating this process until you get that polished sound. So be okay with going through it over and over a few times. As you work, your projects can get messy with extra tracks and files, so before you get into serious mixing, clean things up. If you are mixing someone else's music, check each track and label them clearly. Here's a simple checklist to help you stay organized. Make a new version of your project to keep track of changes without losing old versions. Say you save a new file, then just change the last number or the version like this. Delete or hide tracks you don't need. This will make your workspace clearer. Arrange your tracks in a logical order like drums, bass, rhythm instruments, solos, and vocals. This makes them easy to find. Organize your auxiliary inputs in a way that works best for you, either all together or however you like them. And if you don't know what auxiliary inputs or say auxiliary channel are, they're basically what we call a send track or a return track. Now that we have our project set up, let's start the actual fun. The most common misconception among producers regarding gain staging is that gain is same with volume. Yes, you heard it right. Gain and volume are totally two different things. To easily understand it, let me put it like this. Gain is the input of a sound and the volume is the output level. Gain controls the amplification of a sound source before it undergoes processing, while volume manages the loudness of a sound source after it has been processed. So changing the output level won't change anything in the input level. So here you can see I have loaded up an EQ, and if I change the volume knob, you'll see that although you don't hear the output, the signal is still coming into the EQ or any effect for that matter. I hope I made it easy enough to understand. Now the question is how to gain stage. You can change the gain of a sound by either changing the gain at the source or by loading a plugin that can control the gain. The question must arise is how much or what level should you be hitting on the meter. Before how to do it, let's look into how much should the signal be hitting in the meter before we load any processors in the slot. First, let's understand the differences in metering between analog and digital systems. In analog, we aim for peaks around 0 dB VU, and in digital systems, we use a different scale called full scale, aka dBFS. What dBVU and dBFS mean, that's a topic for another day, maybe in the intermediate or advanced course, which will be coming later. For now, let's focus on what levels should you be hitting. For any digital systems, I recommend setting your peaks at around -12 dBFS or averaging at anywhere about -12 to -18 dBFS. This gives you plenty of headroom and keeps your signals to noise ratio optimized. Here, it's crucial to avoid exceeding 0 dB because hitting 0 dB can lead to digital clipping, which may ruin your sound. Your gain staging approach could be different depending upon the genre because each genre has its own aesthetics, and for this particular course I will not talk about that. We'll be just understanding the concepts and the theories behind everything just to get the foundation right. So next topic for this course would be learning all about EQs, and I'll see you in that one.